how YouTube and social media nearly crushed my creativity, but more on that later. Now, I don't know about you, but my relationship with my creativity has had its ups and downs, its ebbs and flows. When I was a kid, teenager, I was always creating. I was always doing things creative. I was always drawing. And honestly, I think it's one of those things that really helped ground some of the big emotional things that I had to go through growing up. As we get into adulthood and we get busier, I continue to create, but it was that time I had kids. And if you know, you know. You get busy, your focus is on them. You kind of just become this person that's the mom, the caregiver, the wife, etc. And I really just kind of stopped creating. For those years that I was not creating, those were probably some of my, you know, not ideal mental health years. And I started creating again, and it just felt so good and it felt so right. It was such a good outlet for me. Now, I wanted to invite you guys. This is the first page in my brand new sketchbook, and I am super excited because I'm feeling like my creativity is being rejuvenated again. I'm feeling inspired again, and my first page in a new sketchbook is always the same. It's a self-portrait of me. I think it's a really fun way to start sketchbooks, especially if you keep them regularly, because you can see how your style changes or the way you express yourself changes. And I'm also being very daring in this sketch because I'm using pen. So there's no erasing, there's no going back. Whatever mistakes I have to live with or problem solve. But here's what I love about using just a cheap ballpoint pen and a small sketchbook, which I did get on Amazon. It was like $5. It was a pack of two. I got one for me, I gave one to my daughter, and it's accessibility. And that's like a really big thing I wanted to focus on with my channel, and any inspiration was how can we make creativity more accessible to everyone, because I just find it such an important part of my daily routine and such an important part of my own mental health. This is definitely something that I use for my own self-care. So how did YouTube and social media almost kill my creativity without me knowing about it? Creating art as a full-time operation has been my goal and my dream for a long time. I love creating, and it's like I just want to have a job that I can be creative in, and that's the goal. So over this last summer, I had some extra time off because I'm a TA at an elementary school in a kinder room, so I have the summers off, and it's really nice to have that time. So over the summer, I was like, I'm going to really get serious about my YouTube channel. I'm going to get serious about everything and blah, blah, blah. So I just kept trying stuff. I was going to art shows. I was creating on YouTube, and it was great because I had all of this time to do it. But what I didn't realize I was doing in the moment is that I was kind of starting to create just for the sake of the AI robot, the algorithm. So on one hand, it is really important to create content that you think that people will love and enjoy. But on the other hand, as someone that's really creative, it's also really important to create content just because you want to, or to create a beautiful piece of artwork and not necessarily have it be for the internet or for the algorithm. You're just creating it because you want to, you're inspired, and like that is super important too. When I first started the journey, I was really like tapping into the tutorial space and the how-tos, and kind of like, oh, like I could create this whole brand where I do paint and sips and blah, blah, blah. But then what kind of slowly happened was I was literally only creating one painting a week. And I mean, it only took me a couple hours to create these paintings, but that's all I was doing. The rest of the week, I was taking that footage and, breaking it up into different things to post on different platforms. And so I was just kind of all over the place. And it was like really exhausting. I think the right intention was there and everything, but the process that I was using was just not sustainable, especially when I fast forward and it's fall and we have to start school again. I was totally exhausted trying to keep up with this schedule that I made for myself over the summer when I had a ton of extra time on my hands. I started asking myself, how can I create more? How can I spend more time just like drawing or painting or whatever? And I landed on this. I actually was inspired by another video, and I'll link it in the description below, about just carrying a sketchbook. So now I'm going to be carrying this with me everywhere so that I can be drawing and studying something on a daily basis. I don't always have to paint. And I think that's important to remember, like, if you need a creative outlet, because like I truly believe like we are creators, we're not meant to just sit here and consume content. I mean, obviously, if you're watching this, you're consuming content, and I appreciate all that support, but like if we spend every day just hours and hours only watching, it can be really draining. It can drain our energy. So I'm combating this with giving myself a little more creative freedom on my YouTube channel. Yes, I will still be doing tutorials. I'm still going to do those like paint and sip / paint night, but I also want to introduce some other just like creative things. I don't know what that means for me, but just different things, making sure that I carve out the time and space for myself as a creator to make videos that just make me happy, even if I don't know that they're going to do well. Like for example, this drawing, I can see flaws with it. It's not perfect. It's not like a showstopper. Do I like it? Yeah, of course. Like, I drew it. I see the mistakes. It's not my best drawing ever, but it's a self-portrait, and I took time to study. I took time to look at my picture, and at the end, I always look at, okay, where are the mistakes? Where could I get better? And I move on from there. I don't let those mistakes hold me back, which is great by using a pen. You're not held back by the mistakes, because really, in all honesty, when you're drawing or painting, those first few layers that you put down are crucial. Like that's what you need to focus on when you're first learning, is how do we lay down a strong foundation. I thought another cool thing to think about for this journal, and these are some intentions I'm setting. I would love to invite anyone watching this, go get yourself a small sketchbook to bring with you everywhere. And even if you just have that one sketchbook and a pen, just look at something, anything. It could be your foot, it could be your dog sleeping next to you, it could be a piece of fruit. It doesn't matter. It literally can be anything. And as you carve that time out for your day, one, it's really relaxing. I love that. Two, if you are only focusing on using a crappy, cheap ballpoint pen and an inexpensive notebook, boom, you have access to do something creative. You don't need to have 10 million tools to be creative. I also really love the idea of having this be a visual journal. So every day I'm just kind of looking at different things to draw that kind of capture the type of day I had. I might even put the date on some of the pictures, or I might put a feeling that I was having, like I was feeling super tired today, or it was an emotional day, or today was super exciting. We celebrated a birthday, so maybe I'll study the wrapping paper, the presents on the table. And it doesn't have to be like you sit down for an hour. I'm just talking like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and sometimes I end up drawing longer. Another amazing thing about this process is as you force yourself to draw more and more and more and more and more, even when you don't necessarily always feel like it, you can really get an idea of how you express yourself as an artist. I feel like I'm still kind of honing in on how I want to express myself, so I'm still in this like discovery and learning phase. There's still things like I've become a substantially better artist. Like if I pull out my sketchbooks from a couple years ago, I am definitely better, but there's still ways I want to learn, I want to grow, and I want to continue getting better. And I'm definitely still exploring how I'm expressing myself as an artist. And lastly, really, this is my happy place. I use this, and I would invite anyone else watching this, if you like drawing or doodling, this is to me the best form of meditation. I will sit there quietly and I will quiet my mind. I'll do yoga, I'll do these different meditative type practices, but honestly, if I'm really being honest, this is my favorite way to get my body to calm down and my mind to be in the present moment and just be with me and whatever I'm studying or looking at. It really brings everything to now. And it's been really fun because this is something that I can also invite my kids to do with me. I can sit down with them and we can all draw together. We can draw something different, or sometimes I draw them just for fun. So it is really, it's kind of like this replacement for me just scrolling on my phone. Once again, like when we are creating versus consuming. So instead of taking a few minutes to get my phone out, which I mean, I still do. I'm a human. I like social media. I like YouTube. I get really inspired by other people's content creation. So I enjoy watching other creators, but I also try to be a little bit more mindful of how much time I'm spending consuming content. So I'm trying to make this switch, which is where it's really good for my own mental health and my own mental clarity to just have that sketchbook with me. And it's really funny because sometimes I just feel like a little kid. Like I bring it to work and I bring it into my break room and I'm sitting there doodling and drawing and I'm like, man, I kind of feel a little silly sometimes, but I'm like, you know what? This is what makes me happy. This is going to be me. And at the end of the day, I gotta take care of my own mental health. I gotta be plugged in and tapped into those things that I just find super enjoyable. I hope you guys really enjoy it. Let me know how you feel this self-portrait turned out. For my own critiques is I made the mouth area a little too dark. I wish I would have kept a little more of that light around the teeth. And I also made that chin area too small. I did not proportion the face 100% correctly. But that's, once again, what I love about using pen is there's no going back. Like, once you laid out those foundations, you just have to go with it. I really love how it turned out. Definitely welcome to leave some critiques and, guidance in the comments below. I love the way this video turned out, and if you're still here, hit that thumbs up button because it was a lot of fun to make, and it's probably been one of my more creative videos I've done so far. I'll make sure to link some of my paint night paint tutorials in this video as well because we are approaching spooky season and you gotta get those spooky paintings up in your house or apartment. They make really cute and simple decor, and a lot of them, they're only gonna take you a couple hours to paint. I'll be signing off for now. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you next week for another video. Bye for now.